Hi, everybody. My name is Alexandre Tomic. I'm the founder of Alea. Alea is a game aggregator. It's a company I founded in 2012. First, it was an operator. We were operating on MGA, UKGC, SGA markets. And we've developed an internal aggregator, and that's how we started understanding the problematic of aggregation. We also, we developed all the platform. We've developed the payment provider. We even developed our own chat. But what we quickly understood, as you may imagine, is that a chat can be developed for any industry. A payment gateway can be developed for any industry. And basically, the players that were coming and developing the payment gateway, they were coming from other industry. But a game aggregator, an iGaming aggregator, is specific to our industry. It's at the core of our gaming operations. Games are at the core of our gaming operations, and games are ruled by APIs. And that's the point I want to make today. But before getting there, I'd like to get back in the past. And maybe some of you remember, maybe some of you don't, but 20 years ago, when I started, was 2004, there's very few software providers. You had a micro-gaming casino, basically, or you had a play tech casino. And it was a downloadable casino. It was developed in C++. You didn't have what's called LGS, downloadable games, flash games. You had to download a casino. And then came ARTG, and then came Top Game, and that was it, basically. And on the English side of the business, we could see these small software providers coming up, and then NetEnt came up. They came up with Java games, and then from Java, they came to Flash. And when we created the company, so I started in 2004, I was a white label of a French operator that had their own French games. It was called B3W. The company was co-created by Henri Etriard. Henri Etriard was a very dear friend of mine. He's my mentor. He basically brought me in this industry, and he died last week from a heart attack. I just want to have a thought towards him. He's going to be incinerated next Tuesday in Cimetière of Père Lachaise in France. And rest in peace, Henry. I just want to have a little time about that. So, to get back to the point, we went from a status where you were downloading a casino, where the casino would do everything. There wouldn't be GGR. It was just money in, money out, to integrating LGS into your own system. And this basically started, NetEnt came around 2005, 2006, but we saw an explosion of this in 2012. You remember Casumo, Slots Million, Vito Slots, Mr. Green, Leo Vegas 2012 with the first mobile casino, and we all started to aggregate games together. Would have I used, as an operator, aggregator back in time? No. Why would I have done that? First of all, there was 2 or 3 software providers that were suiting my market, which was Sweden and Finland, and that would have been on the top of my mind, NetEnt, Betsoft, and maybe Play and Go. And then we added more and more, and we had 5 and 10 and 20 of them. But you could start an operation just with 2 software providers, you know? The game aggregators were hosted on their own servers, so they were aiding latency. And if their servers were going down, all the operation was going down. So there was no need for aggregation, and actually aggregation was a kind of a natural business. And slowly, more and more studios popped out. I stopped counting around 250, 25,000 games. And we have only 250 studios because we have a lot of them that are dying. every month. So we have maybe 1 to 2 studios that comes every week, and we have a lot of studios that are dying, and we have 25,000 games. Should we integrate all these studios and try all these games? No. I'm going to give you after that a very good reason why we shouldn't do that as operators. There's a very important reason why we should not integrate new game studios. But on the other side, I don't want to miss the new No Limit City. I don't want to miss the new Big Time Gaming. I don't want to miss the new Hacksaw Gaming. All these beautiful softwares that when they came out on the market, they were nothing. I remember having a presentation done in the Bellagio at Las Vegas. It was a party that was organized by Red Tiger Gaming, by Nick Morgan, and next to me was sitting Nick Robinson. I didn't even know the guy. He wasn't known. I don't even know if Big Time Gaming existed. And he pulls out his phone, and he shows me Bonanza. Have you seen Bonanza? It looks so crappy. The design is crappy. The music is banjo. It's a poorly developed game, but the mechanics behind were very innovative. And I said, man, you need to revamp the game, do something, put some design on it, you know? And he said, no. And I said, at least change the banjo music. He said, no, I played it in my house. I recorded myself. I said, man, you're not going anywhere with that. He said, I am telling you that this is the next Gonzo killer. I said, okay, good luck with that. And we see where he is now. So what I'm trying to say is that I think I'm quite knowledgeable at slots. I've been in this industry for 20 years. I couldn't predict Bonanza when I saw it. Could I predict Fortune Tiger in Brazil, developed by a Chinese company, which is making between 200 million and 400 million GGR now per month, which is the #1 game in Brazil? No, impossible. You can't predict that. So PGSoft came out with a game, Fortune Tiger, and then Fortune OX, that they developed for the Chinese market, and God knows why, an influencer picked it up, and bam, this is #1 game now in Brazil. You cannot predict that. And my point is that I have a lot of data. We use a technology called Looker. I don't want to get into AI. I don't believe that today we have AI models. We have machine learning models. And there's probably AI models that exist somewhere, but they're not accessible to us, okay? We just need business intelligence tools, and we have the best tools for that, but you need business analysts to do the work behind. But they can only do it once you get the data. You cannot do that proactively. And it's funny because if you look at that, we want to all push the No Limit City and all these cool games, but let's say you're a non-CIS operator and you want to go to CIS. You're going to try EGT, as they call it there, okay? You don't know that there's a software provider called Microsoft. Only Russians and Ukrainians know it, and it's the best performing software there. You don't know that. So what you need is you need people that know the business. And it reminds me, and I told that on another panel right before, the war in Afghanistan, 9/11. Intelligence services started removing men from the ground. They were too expensive. And they thought they had the technology to analyze in real time every single conversation, email, photo, whatever, and be able to gather that information in a meaningful way. And they failed miserably. We need people. We need to have our people, our business people that know what's going to work, and then they will analyze the data. Now get me back to the API, because the API is the most important thing here. We are the only industry where there's money in and money out. So basically, you can virtually print money if the API is not coded correctly. And what does that mean? You have different calls. One call for the bet, one call for the win, rollbacks, retries, reconciliation. There's API governance that needs to be developed the same way it has been developed in payment gateways. In payment gateways, you have the PCI standard. We don't have it in the core of our gaming operations in how APIs are communicating between the software provider and the operator. And it's at the core of our gaming operations. And however, we rely on new software providers when we, as operator, integrate their games. You're talking and trying to learn the language of a 5-year-old toddler instead of trying to teaching him how to talk or to speak, because the liability is on you, not on him. So when we started developing our own interval gateway, we were a Babel tower. We spoke 50 different languages, NetEnt's language, Evolution language, all these software providers, and they were not good at building APIs. But there were not this ecosystem of hackers that we see now. And since then, they became good. But now is this one software provider coming out every week or every 2 weeks. I mean, we have people, they want to build entertainment. They want to build great games. They want to become the next No Limit City. You want to integrate them, actually, because you don't want to lose that opportunity. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to get hacked. And you would think, it's okay. It's just 1% of my GGR. It's not a question of exposure. Hackers are going to find them. And they already found them on other websites. And they already tested this API and this API, how it has been integrated. And they're going to generate wins without bets. And they're going to funnel it through other software providers. So your fraud and finance team don't see that the wins, illegitimate wins, are generated on these software providers. It can take you years to understand, or you will never understand it, and you will have a silent bleeding. So it is very important that we raise our standards towards APIs. It is very important that you, as an operator, develop a core team that is dedicated for APIs, or that you work with a technological partner like us. Because at the end of the day, you didn't build your payment gateway. Why would you build your gaming gateway? There's no reason for that. You need to use third parties, especially for something that is as specific, as technical, as complex as a game API, where basically money can be virtually printed. And you don't want to have your developers working on that. You don't want to have your rock stars developers developing APIs, because at the end of the day, they're going to hate you for that. I've asked my developers to do that, and if I would have told them, go and clean the toilets, you would have had the same results, you know? Integrate a game API. I would say, yeah, I give you this game API because it's a very important software, you know? And then I will take a rookie, and as a rite of passage, I will give him a game to integrate. And I can't see what happened years after when we have a big hack like we had on microgaming on their AWP slot. I don't know if you remember that happening 8 years ago. And the hacks we're seeing today, about 2, 3, 4 millions hacks. Sometimes 10, 20 million hacks. That's more the exception. So we need to be very careful with that. And just to finish, what I would recommend is develop a specific team for API, develop your own API, enforce that API to the software provider, because they don't know. When we tell them, you need to do the retries, you need to do the rollback, we using our language, and reconciliation. So no, it's okay, we go live without that. No, 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 I'm not going to push the green button because I want to protect my customer, which is the operator. And I want to protect you, actually. Because if something fucks up in an API of Spotify and you wanted to listen to Taylor Swift and you got Led Zeppelin, let's say, too bad, okay? But when something fucks up in iGaming API, money is being lost in 99% of the time on the operator's side, because the liability that the software has is what? 20,000? 50,000 max? And the hacks we're seeing are more about 2 to 5 to 10 million, okay? So develop your proper API with a dedicated team, or to be honest, work with a technological partner that knows their business, because this is the core of your gaming operation. Games are the core of the gaming operation, and games are ruled by APIs. Thank you very much.